This week we are looking at a figure who was almost larger than life in Central Oregon history. Literally.
At over 300 pounds, Hugh O'Kane was an imposing figure in the early days of the incorporation of the city of Bend.
But he started his life in Ireland with a renegade spirit and a thirst for adventure, until one day he and some friends made a decision that would alter Hugh's life course forever.
And then he finds himself in Liverpool at the age of 12, and he and some other boys stow away on a ship. They have no idea where it's going. 45 days later, they're all in New York City.
Hugh's thirst for adventure saw him roaming through more states with more professions than most of us could have in a lifetime.
When he arrives here, he's 49, going on 50, and has already had a whole life worth of adventures before even arriving here.
Hugh could often be found sitting in a chair outside his hotel telling stories that some found a bit too tall for tales.
According to Hugh, among his exploits was that he knew Doc Holliday in Tombstone, Arizona, and was there when he killed his first man.
Hugh's first attempt at a hotel ended with as much fiery passion as the yarns he would tell to the travelers.
One of the patrons who was asleep on the billiard table woke up to embers falling from a fire above him, and the entire saloon was a loss.
So we rebuilt, and that one burned down. But undeterred, Hugh said, you know what, this time I'm going to get things right the first time, or the third time to be more accurate. So he set out
to build the most state-of-the-art fireproof, grand commercial building yet to grace the streets of Bend.
As a member of the Emblem Club in Bend, he had stained glass emblems placed throughout, a large dose of ornate artwork, and curiously a honeybee over the front door.
You see, he was not only a member of the prestigious Emblem Club, he was also a member of a more prestigious organization within the organization, one that to this day we know very little about.
The only thing we really know about that is it meant that Hugh O'Kane was required to wear a tuxedo to most of the Emblem Club affairs as a member of the Honeybee Order.
The building stands as a historical monument to this day and has housed some of the most famous businesses in Bend.
And then later, well known to almost anyone in Bend was Cashman's Clothier. That was the place to go and buy your clothing.
But perhaps many of you, when you hear the name O'Kane, don't think historical monuments, but rather whiskey and cigars.
Well, now we're in the fabulous O'Kane's bar, the Hugh O'Kane bar at McMiniman's Old St. Francis. One of his friends was Father Luke Sheehan with St. Francis Catholic Church, and was very supportive of Father Luke's efforts to finally get a Catholic school established in the city of Bend.
Hugh didn't live to see the opening of the school, but he probably would have been a little amused that he had a pub named after him.
This actually was a garage that just serviced a lot of different elements of the church property and the school property in keeping things up and running. And it's a delightful turnover into the space that it is today. A great adaptive reuse of an old building.
In the end, years of hard living eventually caught up with Hugh O'Kane, and he stowed away on his final ship.
But by 1929, his weight was finally catching up with his health, and he spent the last year of his life in Portland, in and out of the hospital, until he passed away in 1930.
But his name will live on not only in history, but over a tasty beverage and some good conversation.
Part of what's fun about this space is honoring his colorful, life in painting, that all of his different stories and exploits now live on in a great piece of art.
Scott Elness, Central Oregon Daily News.